Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. This evening, my guest will be Miss Judy Williams. She's the co-founder of Mothers of Murdered Offspring. And we have Miss Sally Coleman. She's the president of the Cabarrus County chapter of Mothers of Murdered Offspring. How y'all ladies doing today?
We're fine.
Fine.
We're fine.
Thank you for coming on the show. This has been a real big issue that we've been having in our, not only our community, but our whole country. Murdered offsprings. Let's go back to 1993. Tell us exactly what happened that made Mothers of Murdered Offspring happen.
On February 19th, 1993, my son David came home, might have been around midnight, and he came in this panic, you know, mama, mama, calling me at the top of his voice. And he said, somebody killed Shawna. And just going back to that time, I just remember sitting up in the bed and not really believing what my ears was hearing. But, you know, hours, you know, on later, you know, people started calling and coming by, and we realized something really, really horrible had happened. She had been killed in her home and drowned in a tub of water, and nobody knew who or why. And several days after that, after her funeral, we were at my house for dinner, and her mom and I got to talking. And that is where the conversation of starting a support group started, because we wanted to, for one, do something to help our friend. And we thought that if there were no other organizations in the city doing this, maybe this would be good for other people too. So about a month and 10 days later, which was March 29th, 1993, we had our very first support meeting.
Ms. Coleman, Sally, tell us what happened to your family in 1993.
It was January the 9th, 1993. I had 4 sons, and I left my house at 12:30 to go somewhere. When I came back around 2:05, police cars and fire trucks and everything was in front of my house, and my 13-year-old son had been shot by a drive-by shooter. That was the day that, like I said, it changed my life, because that was the beginning of the end. That was a day that I never want to relive, a day that I don't want anybody else to have to live, because the loss of a child is nothing that I would wish on my worst enemy.
Take us back as far as the first support group you had with Mothers of Murdered Offspring.
We held our very first meeting at Amy James Neighborhood Center. We had gotten the word out. My son, who by the way is Councilman David Howard, he's one of the co-founders, and he got the word out through the newspapers. He did a very good job getting it out there that we were having this meeting, and we invited families who had had loved ones that had been murdered to come. And we just didn't know what we had done. We really didn't, because that night, I will never forget it. It was, people came in with their children's coats, their scrapbooks, their pictures, their tennis shoes, different types of memorabilia that they brought in that night to talk about during that meeting. And I remember Cynthia Williams saying this song, "God Knows What's Best for Me," during that meeting. And I mean, I cried. I think there was not a dry eye in that room that night, because we all cried. And you know, since then, you know, we still you know, run into some of those people. But this is where I met Sally. She was in that first meeting, and we've kind of been together ever since.
Sally, what did you gain from going to that first support meeting?
I gained a friendship, at the start of a new family. And when I say family, sometimes I have to tell people, not a family that was given to me biologically, but a family that was given to me in a different kind of way, the shedding of blood, of our children's blood. it was a release system, a way that, because once that happens to you, people don't know what to say to you. They act like you have a disease. They don't want you to mention your children. It's like if you walk in a room, you got to be quiet because we don't want to mention his name or her name because she may cry. I found out with Mothers of Murdered Offspring, especially with Judy, that if I wanted to cry, I could call her in the middle of the night. She was there for me. There was no shunning of me. I could be me. I could be the person that January the 9th, 1993 had turned me into, a brand new person, a person that wasn't as secure as I used to be, a person that had always taught their children that home, school, and church was the safest places, but then it wasn't. And Mama gave me that sense of security, that sense of I could be who I wanted to be. I could be who I was, the person that my life had changed that day, that I could never go back and be the person that I was before. And I thank God for that. I thank God for Judy. I thank God for Judy being here now with me. And it's been 19 years and we're still friends, we're family. I don't look at her as Judy Williams, Mothers of Murdered Offspring. I look at her as Judy Williams, my friend, my sister, a person that God put in my life to help me, even to today, still go through what I go through.
How do you get the family to deal with the fact that that family member is gone?
I think initially, you know, you can't do that because there are stages of grief, and there are stages they're going to have to go through. And what you have to do is help them to understand, okay, yes, your life has changed, but you know, be patient with yourself. Don't expect yourself to jump right back into a new life because your life has changed forever as it was prior to your loved one being murdered. And I use an example that I've used it many times with them when I'm talking to families. I tell them it's like you're standing at a tunnel. You're standing at the entrance of a tunnel, and in that tunnel it is very, very dark. And you can't see anything but a little glimmer of light way at the end of the tunnel, just a little tiny light. But you're standing there and you're tempted because of the darkness of the unknown of what you're going to encounter, of what you have to deal with in losing that loved one. You're tempted to turn around and go back. But when you turn around, there's a brick wall there, which means you can't go back because that has changed forever. So the only thing you can do is either stand there and make no progress with this, or you can start moving forward. Now, as you move forward, yes, you're going to encounter people who will say careless things. Things like, you know, well, you need to move on. You know, he's dead and gone now. You need to let that go and move on. Get back into your life. Stop doing that. Those are careless remarks that people make. Or you know, like Sally was saying, don't say anything about her child because she may cry. You're gonna run into days when I've been told you don't even want to get out of bed. You know, you don't want to go to work. You don't want to do anything. You just want to stand there and just feel sorry for yourself. But what I tell them is that in that tunnel, that glimmer of light you see at the end of it is still hope. And if you keep moving toward it, the light gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and you start to run into organizations like MAMO that can help you, you know, get to that next level if you need that. Or we would know who to maybe introduce you to or send you to get the help you want. And if you just keep moving and keep moving, one day you will actually get out into the light on the other side of it, and what you'll be able to do is see all this sunlight and you'll say, I made it. I made it. You made it. And all the people that God put in your life along the way are still there. They haven't gone anywhere.
Sally, what do you miss the most about your child not being here today?
The joking, the laughter. My son had his own way of making things funny. He could get in a fight with you, and 5 minutes later, you was his friend. He didn't hold grudges. And his thing about, when I grow up, Mom, you won't have to work. I will take care of you, and I will never leave you. And at the time, when my son was living, I was a smoker. I smoked cigarettes. And he used to tell me, Mom, if you quit smoking, you'll live longer and I'll be with you. Well, that didn't happen. But I did quit smoking. But he still lives with me forever in my heart. Just because your child is murdered, that's something that nobody can take away from you. You always have them in your heart, in your mind. I still, at times, it's his birthday, I still wake up and tell him happy birthday. To say that it's as bad as it used to be, no, it's not. But there is days that you don't feel like getting up. As Judy said, you don't feel like getting up. You don't feel like eating. You feel guilty about things that you are doing and you're like, they're not here. I have pictures of my other kids in tuxedos. I have graduation pictures, but I don't have any of him. I just moved into a new apartment, and I have his old tennis shoes because right before he got killed, that Christmas, the only thing he wanted was a white pair of Adidases, and he got his white Adidases for Christmas. But when he got shot, he didn't have them on. And to the day, I still have those white Adidases, and they still have that new smell in them. And every once in a while, I'll go back, get the shoe, and I'll smell it. And it makes me know that he's still here with me.
Why do you see there's so much killing going on in our community? Well, in the whole country, in the world.
Personally, for me, I did not even realize that it was as bad as it is until this incident happened with the Trayvon Martin incident. It was then that I realized that, you know, we were rallying because of this particular incident. But it made me wonder, well, why is it that, you know, there was another Martin, his name was, oh man, I can't think of it right now, but anyway, the young man that was killed in Greer Heights.
Correct.
Yeah, his name was also,
Ricky?
his name was also, he was also a Martin. And I'm going like, you know, now wait a minute, this was a Martin, this was a Martin. Why is it that we rallied so with this Martin, but we didn't do with this Martin? And come to think of it, we hadn't done it with anybody with any other last name where we know the person was murdered by another black person. And it was then that it kind of grabbed me, kind of made me mad. You know, why is it that we get so upset when, you know, when somebody else kills one of us, but we don't do it when we kill us? So I asked Gary McFadden, who used to be with the homicide division, who recently retired. And I asked Gary to get me some figures on how many black people killed black people last year. And what he gave me, I was not prepared for. What he told me was that there were over 16,000 black people that died in this country last year at the hands of over 15,000. That blew me out the water, because I could not believe that we had that many people that had killed other black people, and that particular number has a double-edged sword in that it also, you've got the perpetrator's family that's involved in it. That makes that number over 30,000 families that have been affected by homicide in the black community. And I'm going, you know, hey, we've got to do something about this. This just cannot continue. We've got to do whatever it takes to draw awareness to this. Maybe people have just gotten so accustomed to us killing each other to where we don't even care anymore. As long as one of us kills us, it's okay. Well, it's not okay. Not with Judy Williams. It's not okay. It's not okay with Sally Coleman. It's not okay with, I don't think, any other mother or family that you will talk to tell you it's okay that we are killing each other. And we are ready to do something about it nationally.
So what do we go about as far as educating, especially our youth? How do we go about educating them to let them know that this is an issue? Why are we killing one another? How do we